The year is 1860, and although telegraph lines had been around for 15 years, there was nothing connecting the East to the West. To get mail delivered cross-country, you'd need a stagecoach, which took too long, or the Pony Express, which was too dangerous. The need for faster and safer communication led to Congress passing the Telegraph Act, which supplied funding to Western Union for a cross-country telegraph line. Thousands of men answered the call to wire America, but it quickly proved to be a challenging task for these early linemen.
One can only imagine how it must have been back in those days, dealing with kind of an unknown entity. The linemen didn't know a lot about electricity. They essentially just went out and did the work, and they trained each other. Linemen essentially climbed without a belt, and they'd wrap their leg around the pole to hold themselves, and safety wasn't really much of a consideration then.
Despite the hazards, these men managed to work quickly and efficiently.
They had some competitions between the groups to try to see how far they could go and how many poles they could set, and there's records that indicate that they built as many as 10 miles of telegraph line in one day.
It's estimated that over 45,000 poles were needed for this undertaking, a challenge considering their lack of tools.
The linemen right away started to be very good at adapting and improvising and using different things, and they actually got by pretty well with the lack of tools just because of their innovativeness and, their desire to get the work done.
The tools may have been the least of their worries. Wild buffalo created several problems during construction.
As soon as they got the poles in the ground and the herds mingled around the telephone line, they loved to scratch their backs on them. And they would rub hard enough that they could actually knock the poles over.
There was no real solution to the buffalo. Instead, the problem continued throughout construction. Aside from this, the linemen had to deal with Native Americans who understood the impact of the line.
The Indians viewed the telegraph as a threat. They would tie rope onto the poles and, tear the line down, which then the linemen had to go out and repair.
Despite the challenges, the line made a significant impact on the Civil War.
The telegraph became a strategic element of the Civil War. It was an advantage to either side to have good communications. There were at least 2 or 3 generals on both sides, the Confederate and the Union, that praised the telegraph crews for their effort in keeping the lines open, building the lines, repairing the lines. Sherman, it was a Union general. He said that the telegraph was clearly a major factor in his campaign.
With all the challenges that linemen faced at the time, it's difficult to understand why they were willing to risk their lives for the telegraph line.
I think people in that era had some adventurous spirit that they had with them. They liked the challenges. It was exciting to them. So if you think back upon them doing all that work with a lack of experience and in the threats of hostile Indians, weather, Civil War, all of that stuff, it's pretty darn amazing, and it really makes you respect what the pioneers went through, and it provides good solid roots for where we are today and the pride in the trade that exists today.
The line was finally completed on October 24, 1861. Near instant communication from coast to coast was finally a reality. What was once a job for brave, skillful, yet underappreciated men became an established profession and was essential to the growth and unification of the United States.